Hey everyone. So, if you're on the path to financial independence, you already know that making smart money decisions is pretty much the whole game. But what if I told you that the one thing you trust the most, your own brain, is actively and secretly working against you? I mean, just think about this for a second. The guy who literally won a Nobel Prize for figuring out why we make bad decisions, Daniel Kahneman, he fully admits that he still makes those same mistakes. So, if the world's leading expert on this stuff can't get it right all the time, what hope do the rest of us have when we're trying to grow our wealth?
And this quote from the book we're talking about today just nails it. This isn't about being smart. It's not about intelligence. It's about being human. Our brains are hardwired in a way that makes us, well, kind of terrible at investing.
And that's exactly why we're here. Welcome to Book Talk Finance. This is where we break down the biggest ideas from the most important books on money and investing, so you can grab the tools you need to build real, lasting wealth. Today, we are tearing into the absolute must-read lessons from Capital Allocators by Ted Seides. Okay, let's get right to the heart of the matter. The book calls this the investor's dilemma, and it's super simple. The brain we evolved for survival out on the savannah is just not built for navigating the modern stock market. It's a total mismatch.
See, your brain has two modes. System 1 is your gut instinct. It's fast, automatic, and great for, not getting eaten by a lion. System 2 is slow, logical, and analytical. Investing needs System 2, but our default setting is always System 1. And that opens the door for all these cognitive biases, these mental shortcuts that make us panic sell and buy on hype. And here's the crazy part. The book points out that the smarter you are, the better you get at telling yourself a really convincing story about why your bad decision was actually a brilliant one.
So, if we can't even trust our own thinking, what are we supposed to do? Well, the answer is to borrow the thinking and, more importantly, the systems from the absolute best investors on the planet. And that is exactly what this book lets us do. Ted Seides has spent his career interviewing hundreds of the world's top investment managers. He's talked to the best of the best. And in this book, he took all of that wisdom, all those conversations, and boiled it down into a toolkit that you can actually use. This isn't just a bunch of interesting stories, it's a practical manual for how the pros play the game. All right, so the first part of this toolkit has absolutely nothing to do with stocks or bonds or spreadsheets. Nope, it's all about mastering the game going on inside your own head. Before you can manage your money, you've got to manage the biases that are trying to mess you up. Oh man, this one is a classic, and we all do it. You decide you love a particular company. Suddenly, every article you see is about how it's going to change the world. And those other articles, the ones with a few red flags, yeah, your brain just kind of scrolls right past those. It feels good to be right. And confirmation bias is our brain's little trick to keep that good feeling going, even if it ends up costing us a fortune. Okay, listen up, because this concept from decision coach Annie Duke is a total game changer. It's called resulting. It's our terrible habit of judging a decision based only on how it turned out. Let me give you an example. You YOLO some money into a meme stock and it goes up 500%. That was a terrible process that just happened to have a great outcome. That's just dumb luck. On the flip side, you could do amazing research, build a solid thesis, and then a war breaks out and your investment tanks. That was a great process with a bad outcome. To win in the long run, you have to stop obsessing over outcomes and focus entirely on improving your process. And this quote really brings it all together. You might be thinking, great, so my brain is broken, I'm doomed. But that's not the takeaway. The book makes it crystal clear that just knowing about biases isn't enough. You can't just try harder. The solution is to build systems, guardrails, that stop you from driving off the cliff. They force you to slow down and use that analytical brain of yours. So what does a system like that actually look like? Here's a brilliant one called the pre-mortem. It's so simple. Before you make a big financial move, you get your team together, or you can just do it yourself, and you imagine it's a year from now, and the whole thing has been a complete and utter disaster. Total failure. Now, everybody writes down all the reasons why it failed. This little trick flips a switch in your brain, shutting down that dangerous optimism and forcing you to see all the risks you were ignoring before you put your money on the line. All right, so once you start working on the inside game, your own psychology, it's time to build your outside game. This is all about creating your personal investment system, your framework. It's how you move from just reacting to the news to actually executing a real plan. All the top investors on the planet have what they call an investment process. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It's just their playbook. It's a repeatable system for how they operate. And guess what? You can build one too. It's probably the single biggest step you can take on your journey to financial freedom. Now, this tool, this one is unbelievably powerful. It's about balancing two perspectives, the inside view and the outside view. The inside view is your own special analysis of a situation, but the outside view is the ultimate reality check. The book gives this amazing example about Amazon. Your inside view might say, my analysis shows Amazon can grow 15% a year. But the outside view asks, okay, historically, how many companies of that gigantic size have ever managed to do that? And the data says, zero, none. That doesn't mean Amazon can't be the first, but it injects a massive dose of reality into your forecast. Big institutions have things like investment committees and governance. That sounds like corporate jargon, but for us, it just means setting our own rules of the road. Before you invest another penny, sit down and actually write out the answers to these questions. Why are you investing? What is this money for? When will you need it? How do you decide when to buy? How do you decide when to sell? Writing this down creates a contract with your future self. So when the market goes crazy and you're freaking out, you don't turn to your emotions, you turn to your rules. So, we've just covered some seriously powerful ideas from capital allocators. And you might be sitting there thinking, okay, cool, I get the main points. So why should I bother reading the whole book? And that is a fantastic question. I think this quote from Morgan Housel, who wrote The Psychology of Money, says it perfectly. This book isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not about a hot stock tip. It's about fundamentally changing the way you make decisions when faced with uncertainty. And that kind of deep learning doesn't come from a quick summary. It comes from really immersing yourself in the ideas. Here's the best way to think about it. What we're doing here today, this is the map. We're showing you the key landmarks and the main roads, but reading the full book, that's the actual journey. The book is packed with stories and real-world case studies from legendary investors. And it's those stories that provide the context, the how and the why, that really makes these lessons stick. It's what builds the deep conviction you're going to need when things get tough. Okay, so to wrap this all up, I don't want you to just walk away with some interesting ideas. I want to leave you with a challenge. Let's turn these concepts into something you can apply to your own life right now. This one is tough, but you have to ask it. Think about your best investment ever. Now, be brutally honest. Was that the result of a solid, repeatable process that you could do again? Or did you just get lucky? Really confronting the role of luck in your life is the absolute first step toward building a process that can win over and over again. And here's the second one. What's a financial truth that you've never, ever questioned? Maybe it's that property is always a good investment, or that a specific stock is a total no-brainer. I want you to pick one of those beliefs and actively try to prove it wrong. Because it's in those obvious ideas where our most expensive biases love to hide. Seriously, just wrestling with those two questions is the beginning of becoming a truly thoughtful investor. If you want to keep going on this journey with us, make sure you subscribe to Book Talk Finance. We do deep dives like this all the time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.